us now move on to our first presentation, first talk, which is by Vidushi Maitri Goswami ji. She'll be speaking on the topic Satkarantavad, repudiating Shunyavad, the Vallabhite notion of existential theory. Before we play her video, just a brief introduction to her. Maitri ji is a Vaishnavite by faith and a learner of Vedanta, Bharatiya culture and Samskrita Shastras. She has pursued MA from Sampurnanand Vishwavidyalaya, Varanasi, with Vedanta as the main subject. She is the 17th direct descendant of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, and she has been studying all the Shastras of Vallabha Sampradaya of the Pushti Bhakti Margiya sect from her father Sri Sharat Goswami ji as well as her revered Guru Goswami Sri Shyam Manohar ji for the last 14 years. In addition to the Shastras of her Sampradaya, she has also studied Samskrita Vyakarana, Nyaya and Sankhya Shastras, as well as she has a fair understanding of the philosophies of Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya as well as Madhvacharya as part of comparative studies. In accordance with her duties towards her Sampradaya, she currently preaches the Shastras written by Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya and Vedic philosophy as a whole. She is working with her father at Sri Vallabhacharya Vidyapeeth, established in Gujarat, for publishing, preserving and teaching the Vedic Shastras and Granthas written in the Vallabha Sampradaya. She also teaches Vallabha Vedanta in a diploma course run by the Department of Philosophy at University of Mumbai, and she is also currently teaching a course at Indica Courses. So with this brief introduction, we will now lecture by Vidushi Maitri Goswami.
Namaste everyone. Within the topic of Hinduism, Buddhism, philosophical dialogues, today I am trying to discuss the significance of Buddhist theory and how Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya has responded to the same in accordance to his philosophy of Sakara Brahmavad and its other components. So, the theory of Sakara Brahmavad has been established by Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, in which he primarily explains and argues that the Brahman is Sakar and Nirakar both. So these both are the two aspects of Brahman, like the two sides of a single coin. And these both, the elements of Brahman, these both, the attributes of Brahman are supposed to be accepted equivalently. And they should be considered to be one within the infinite qualities of Brahman. Within the major theory of Sakara Brahmavad, other 9 theories have been established by Vallabhacharya, within which he has two major philosophical grounds, which are known as Satkaryavad and Satkaranatavad, in which he is trying to establish the eternity and Satyata of the causal element and the creation both. So, in Satkaranatavad, he says that the causal element from which the whole creation emerges out, that causal element is the true, it is eternal, it is Satya, and it is Brahman, the way Upanishads have to say. And within the theory of Satkaryavad, he wants to establish that the Karya, it means the result, the universe, is also Satya. It means whatever that has been created out of Sat, Chit and Anand attribute of Brahman needs to be Satya. So initially the Anand attribute of Brahman splits into Sat and Chit, both these attributes, and out of Sat attribute the universe is created by Brahman within his desire of being infinite. So, Ekoham Bahusyam Prajayeya, considering this notion of Upanishad, Mahaprabhu establishes that out of the Anand attribute, the whole, the attribute of Sat and Chit are created, are splitted, and out of that Sat attribute, the universe comes into existence, while from the Chit attribute, the Jivatmas comes into existence. And as they both are components of the Brahmic creation. That's why they both needs to be true, they needs to be eternal. So Jagat is considered as the Karya of Brahman, while Jivatma is considered as the Ansha of Brahman. So with both these theories have been elaborated by Sri Vallabhacharya in accordance to the universal creation and with regards to the existential nature of the creation. Regarding Bhagavan Buddha being the incarnation of Narayan himself, that's why being polite while responding to him, Mahaprabhu first of all explains the purpose behind the incarnation of Bhagavan Buddha in both his treatises, Tattvartha-deep Nibandh and the Anubhashya of the Brahma Sutras. So there he says that when Bhagavan saw that in Kali Yuga all the beings are involved in the path of dharma but in a wrong way, but wrongly. In that particular period, Bhagavan felt that the demonic beings, the Asuri beings, as explained in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Daivasur Sampad Vibhagyo, Bhagavan felt that the demonic beings need to be differentiated from the path of dharma so that the original path of dharma for the attainment of incarnation remains open and clear for all the Daivi beings, for all the eternal beings. And with that purpose, Bhagavan incarnated in the form of Buddha and he polluted the meaning of Vedas deliberately with his own desire for clarifying the path of dharma, and with that particular thought he propagated the path of Buddhism or the Shunyavad, which has the components of Kshanikavad and Pratitya Samutpadvad both primarily. Same in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan is explaining that whoever considers this universe to be anitya, anishwara, that path is considered to be the path of the demonic beings, the asura matas. So considering that particular notion and quoting the same shlok in Tattvartha-deep Nibandh, Sri Vallabhacharya is saying that this path where the meaning of Vedas has been polluted is created for the Asuri beings, the demonic beings, whom Bhagavan wants to divert from the path of Dharma and not for the Daivi beings who are meant to attain liberation at the end of their life. So first of all, responding to the Kshanikavad as propagated by Bhagavan Buddha in the second adhyay of Anubhashya, Sri Vallabhacharya first of all considers his point of view while negating all the type of asura matas which are considered to be against the Vedic mata, and in that he is responding to Buddhism and Jainism both. So there he says that Bhagavan Buddha under the theory of Kshanikavad has accepted the Kshanikavad in which each and every object needs to be existing only for a moment, only for a kshana. So in that he says that Bhagavan Buddha is accepting two types of samhatis, and there he argues that without the sanyog of the samhatis you cannot explain the creation of this universe. So there he says that it is considered as the Bahyarthanumeyavad. In Anubhashya he says that in Bahyarthanumeyavad he has accepted that the beings, the Vijnanatmaka Jivatma, it considers the universe, it is trying to imagine the universe within its mind, within its Gyan itself, and there when the Jivatma is trying to have the bhog of the Jagat, the Jivatma is trying to create two type of samudaya which are known as the samhatis. And there he is saying that the first samhati is created out of the parmanus, which are created of Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, and the samudaya of the same. And then the second one is Rupa, Vigyan, Sangya, Sanskar, etc., which are considered as the five skanda. So there he says that these two samudayas needs to be affiliated with each other, and only then the Jivatma, the Vijnanatmak Jivatma, would be able to refer to the same while imagining this universe, where it will try to create the Bahyarthanumeya. It means it will try to create the anumeya of any object which is outside the Jivatma and not inside it sometimes. So in this type of consideration, Mahaprabhu argues that when you are accepting the Kshanikavad, in which everything will be existing only for a moment, only for a kshana, in that both these samudayas of the Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, and Akash, and the other samudaya of Rupa, Vijnana, Sanskar, etc., they will not be able to create a samudaya of both these things, and without being sambandha, without being affiliated with each other, the jivatma also needs to be kshanik. It means its experience also needs to be kshanik, and in that case the sambandha of the samudaya, the samhatis and the jivatma is not possible in the theory of kshanikavad. And that's why Vallabhacharya argues that in the absence of this type of sthirata, where everything is kshanik, nothing can be conceived. And if nothing can be conceived, the samudaya cannot be conceived. In that case, the kshanikavad doesn't remain if the sthirata is accepted. So, because sthirata and kshanikavad, they both are contrary to each other, the causal element between both these two objects is destroyed, and hence the utpatti and pralaya needs to be considered parallel to each other. So, in that case, he argues that उत्पत्ति ही उत्पत्तिरपि न संभवति उत्पन्नस्य खलु उत्पादकत्वम् अतः उत्तरोत्तरोत्पत्ति समये पूर्वस्य नष्टत्वात्, because whenever the creation will come into the picture, whenever the karya will come into the picture, the karan would already been have destroyed. So in that case, पूर्वस्य नष्टत्वात्, because the prior element of the causal element has already been destroyed. That's why utpatti lakshana eva sthiti pralaya karya karana sarvangikare virodhat ekam api na syat. So in this case, the karan and karya, they both needs to be parallel. Only then the karya can be created, the karya can come into the existence. And if the kshanikavad is accepted, then the karya and karan, they cannot be parallel to each other, and in that case the utpatti and pralaya, even they will be parallel. And that's why the whole theory of causation, in which the karan is prior to the karya and then and then the karya comes into the picture, this whole theory will be nullified. And that's why the samanadhikaranya of karya and karan will happen, which will not let the theory of causation exist. After that, regarding the jagat being asat, and prior to that the karan of the jagat being shunya, it being also being asat or beyond asat, in that case bhavotpatti from abhav, this aspect of the Buddhist theory is being responded by Mahaprabhu in the same Adhikaran from the second Adhyaya, where he is saying that the causal element will also become non-existent in the case kshanikavad is being accepted. And because of that, when universe being proved through pratyaksha praman, it means we are able to witness the jagat, and ahead to that, even if one considers that the swapniki avastha and the jagrat avastha, they both will be compared, that okay, the universe is being experienced only during the swapnik avastha and not in the jagrat avastha. In that case, he is saying that the consistency of experiencing jagat is being maintained in our experiences, because we are able to see the same pillar even this year and even the year after. So it means that we are not witnessing the pillar in the swapnik avastha but in the jagrat avastha. So because of the pratyaksha praman, the asat objects cannot become a subject of pratyaksh the way Shashanga cannot be experienced. And that's why the asat object is being contradictory with the theory of Sattvad, the Satyatvavad, and that's why the Kshanikavad doesn't provide the space for this type of Satyavad. And that's why Srila argues that the universe, because it is being proved through our Pratyaksha Praman, we cannot say that the Kshanikavad can stay in this case when the universe is already becoming the object of Pratyaksha Praman. And also he argues that whenever we perform an action, we attain the fruit of that same action. If the Kshanikavad is accepted, in that case the fruit will be perceived without any action. So a person who is not being involved into any sort of action, even he would be able to attain the fruit at the end of without any action, if the theory of Asatvad is being accepted. So the causal element needs to be Satya, and that's why it is Brahman, and it cannot be any Asat object that can ever be accepted as the causal element. So the bhavotpatti is not possible from any sort of abhav. And there he is also responding to all the 4 type of abhavas which have been accepted by the theory of Nyaya. And there he is proposing that the theory of Utpatti and Nash should not be accepted in favor to Satkaran and Satkaryatavad, but rather the theory of Avirbhav and Tirobhav needs to be accepted. So the theory of Avirbhav says that the universe was already existing in the Brahman, but it just doesn't get revealed until he desires to reveal the same. So only the revelation and the object and the universe being behind the revealed revelation is considered, it needs to be considered as the theory of Avirbhav and Tirobhav. So in the theory of Avirbhav, the object is just revealed, it is not created. So there is no scope of any type of abhav. The prag bhav is not possible, and that's why the Avirbhav happens. Also Pradvansa bhav is not possible because the Tirodhan happens. So Satkaryatavad, it means the universe being Satya. The Traikalik Satta of the Jagat is possible only when the theory of Utpatti Nash is not accepted, but rather the theory of Avirbhav and Tirobhav is accepted. And that's why in favor to the same, he says that the Karan Asattuvad is being condemned by Mahaprabhu, also in consideration to the Kshanikavad, that the Karan, the causal element cannot be Asat, it should not be Asat, but rather it should be Sat. Only then the Jagat or any sort of creation can come into existence. While responding to the Prapancha Asatyatvad, where again the theory of Kshanikavad and Shunyavad are coming into picture, he again says that the Swapnavastha and Jagratavastha needs to be differentiated, and Jagat is not being experienced in the Swapnavastha but rather in the Jagratavastha. So the Bhav or Satta of Vasanatmak object, where Bhagavan Buddha is saying that the Jivatma is only experiencing everything being in the state of Vasana. So out of the Vasana, we are imagining the objects, and all those objects are considered to be created or are considered to be experienced within the premises of our experience. Considering the same, Sri Vallabhacharya responds to that particular theory by saying that this also cannot be accepted, because if this sort of theory is accepted, in that case there should be some sort of relation between Jagat and Vasana. So what is prior? If the Jagat is prior or the Vasana is prior. So if they both are correlated to each other, in that case, if the Jagat is being said to be Asatya, in that case the Vasana also needs to be Asatya. And if the Vasana is Asatya, in that case there is no need to be afraid of that sort of Vasana. And if there is no need to be afraid of the Vasana, then no sort of scope for attainment of salvation or nirvana stands in that particular case. So there Sri Vallabhacharya argues that Tvanmate Bayarthasya Anupalabdehe, whatever is Bahya is not Upalabdha, because the Kshanikavad doesn't provide the space for any sort of object to be existent in its nature. So Upalabdasya hi Vasana Janakatvam. So whatever is available, only that can grow any sort of Vasana in a being for Bhoga. It means whenever we want to relish some object, it needs to be existence. So Upalabdasya hi Vasana Janakatvam Anadit तु अबंध परंपरा अन्यायेन प्रतिष्ठैव अर्थव्यतिरेकेण वासनाया अभावात् वासना व्यतिरेकेण अपि अर्थोपलब्धेः अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम अर्थसिद्धिः. So if the relation of Anvay and Vyatirek both are kept into consideration, in that case, yatra yatra jagatah tatra tatra vasanaha, yatra yatra jagata bhavah tatra tatra vasana bhavah. This should happen. But what is happening in the case of Kshanikavad and Shunyavad or Pratitya Samutpadvad, in which only the Pratiti is creating the Samutpad. So only the Anumiti or the Gyan or the Vasana is creating the Samutpad. Responding to that aspect of the philosophical school, Vallabhacharya is saying that if the Jagat is Asat and the Asat is Adrashta, in that case in the Jagrat Avastha, the universe should not be experienced. The experience should be nullified after the Swapna Avastha is concluded. But this doesn't happen. Secondly, the relation of Anvay and Vyatirek, that proposition is being nullified because Jagat is Kshanik, so the object is dying, but the Vasana is remaining. So it means that there is some sort of consistency in the Vasana, but there is no sort of consistency in the objectivity of universe. So in that case, the relation between Jagat and Vasana is not clear, and just because of that, the proposition of Anvay and Vyatirek is not being fulfilled, because the Anvay is happening but Vyatirek is not happening. It means yatra yatra vasana bhavaha tatra tatra jagata bhavaha. This is not happening because in spite of jagata bhav, the universe not being existent, but still the vasana is being there. So in this sort of relation, there is no consistency between the cause and effect between the Jagat and Vasana, the Vasana which is considered to be the effect of Jagata, or the element, the objects, or if the Vasana are generating the Jagat, in that case even Vasana needs to be Kshanika, and if the Vasana is Kshanika, then the Vijnanatmak Jivatma, this theory will get nullified, that there will not be any sort of consistency in the existing element of the Jivatma as well, who is the spectator or who is supposed to get nirvana at the end of this Vasana, the cycle of Vasana. And if the Jivatma is not there, the way Buddha wants to argue, in that case, even if the Jivatma is Kshanika, in that case there is no scope of any sort of existence, and that's why the relation between Bandha and Moksha, it also gets nullified. So there is no point of arguing on all these particular points, and that's why at the end, concluding upon this particular theory and the argument with the Kshanikavad and Pratitya Samutpad and the Shunyavad, Sri Vallabhacharya argues that whatever is against Ved, that theory is nullified in its own self. So it cannot be accepted at any juncture, and that's why there is no point of all these type of arguments where nothing is considered to be existent. And after that, concluding upon the theory of Satkaranatavad and Satkaryatavad, Sri Vallabhacharya argues that because Brahma is Upadan and Nimitta Karan, both towards the universe. So the Brahman himself is the Upadana Karan and Brahman himself is the Nimitta Karan. So he doesn't need the help of any other element for creating this universe or for creating anything out of him or conceiving anything out of his attributes. That's why his attributes are Satya, the Brahman is Satya, and that's why the creation, the universe also and the Jivatma, both being created out of the Sat and Chit attribute of Brahman, they needs to be Satya. And if again the Anvay Vyatirek will be nullified if Asatta of any of both is accepted. So if the cause is Asat, in that case Sat cannot be produced, and if the causal element is Sat, in that case the Asat creation cannot be accepted. So the effect cannot be Asat in that particular case. So there should be consistency between the Karan and a Karya, and that's why the Satta of Jagat and the Satta of the the causal element, they both needs to be parallel to each other, and only then the Satkaryatavad and Satkaranatavad would be able to result into the theory of Brahmavad or Sakara Brahmavad additionally. So the creation is eternal, it is the Satya, and the creator himself is the eternal. So the Karta, Karan and Karya, there should be a chain of consistency between all these three objects, which is not possible in the theory of Shunyavad and Kshanikavad. So whenever the Vijnanatmak Jivatma is considered, who is considered to be the perceiver of everything, who is trying to perceive everything, if that Jivatma being a Vijnanatmak, if there is no sort of consistency in the Vijnan of that Jivatma because of the Vasana being Asat, in that case there is no point of discussing any sort of theory with its consideration to the relation between Bandha and Moksha. That's why Sri Vallabhacharya says that Karan Asattovad एवं कारण असत्वं निराकृत्य विज्ञानवाद्यभिमत प्रपंच असत्यत्वं निराकरोति. So when the asatta of the karan is nullified, with the same the asatta of the prapanch is also nullified. So the karan and karya, they both needs to be satya. Other than that, they both needs to be asatya. So there should be no sort of diplomacy between one being asat and the other being sata. And that's why he says that because the relation of anvay and vyatirek is not being, the proposition is not being established in this sort of theory, this theory needs not to be accepted. And that's why vasanaya adharopi nasti. And that's why additionally with this relation to anvay and vyatirek, by explaining the inconsistency in the proposition of anvay vyatirek between vasana and jagat, he says that there is no adhar of a vasana because the adhar is considered to be kshanik, so it gets destroyed right after being experienced. So alaya vijnanasya kshanikatvat vritti vijnanavat एवं सौत्रांतिक विज्ञानवादी न प्रत्युक्तः. And that's why the alaya vigyan is also considered to be kshanik, and that's why the sautrantik vijnanavad is also not the right path. And that's why madhyamikastu, even the madhyamika are asambadha bhashitvat, and because they are asambadha bhashi, that's why even they needs to be upeksha, they needs to be considered as upeksha iti na nirakriti pracharyena. And that's why I have not considered their option for discussing here. By explaining this particular theory, Sri Vallabhacharya comes to the conclusion that vedoktad anumatrepi vipritam tu yat वदेत तादृष्ट्वा स्वतंत्रम चेत उभयम मूलतो मृषा. So whoever are independently speaking without considering the theory of the Vedas, they are considered to be false. They are considered to be false, and that's why their mata is being nirakrita. It means it is being nullified. But as I stated, Sri Vallabhacharya's opinion upon Bhagavan Buddha's theory prior to that, that all these type of nullified options are being explained by Vallabhacharya just because they are going against the notion of the Ved. But other than that, about the formation of the Brahman, he comes to the point that because the Brahmavad and the form of the Brahman is Ananta, Aparimeya and Aparichinna, and that's why the way Brahman is being conceived in the Upanishad, it should be considered as Sarvavada Navasaram Nanavada Nurodhitat Brahma. So there he says that in this particular case, in spite of I being establishing one type of theory, as per my own understanding, I am not trying to bind Brahman in that type of theory because Brahman is beyond all the theories. So at one attribute of Brahman, all sort of theories are becoming right, and on the other ground, all the theories are nullified other than the Brahmavad, which has been explained by the Upanishads. So on that ground, he argues that even if every type of satta that is being explained or considered in this universe, it may be sat, it may be asat, it may be sadasad, or it may be sadasad vilakshan or shunya, whatever type of satta, it needs to be a type of satta of Brahman. So the way the universal objects are created out of the sat attribute of Brahman, same way all the theories in accordance to any type of satta that are being discussed by the philosophers, all those type of varieties in the theories needs to be considered as the varieties of sat attribute of Brahman himself. So because Brahman is Sarvavada Anavasara and Nanavad Anurodhi, that's why even if a type of Shunyata is considered as the type of Satta, in that case within the major category of Sat attribute of Brahman, even the Shunya Satta needs to be accepted, but not as the major proposition which should be applicable upon the existence of the universe. So within a bracket of Satta, even the Shunya Satta should be accepted some or the other way, and that's why in the consideration of the different type of creation Bhagavan performs, in that case the Aindrajaliki Satta has also been accepted by Vallabhacharya, considering the Kalpa Bhed, that in some type of Kalpa, in some other Kalpa, even the Aindrajaliki Srishti is created by Bhagavan, in which he is not the Upadan or Nimitta Karan, but only the illusionary creation is created. So same way, even the creation, which is completely asat, which is just imagined by a person, a jivatma, in its Vigyan, the Bayarthanumeyavad, the way it has been discussed in the Buddhist philosophy, that sort of imaginary universe can also be accepted, but not as the proposition of this creation at whole, but rather as a bracket within the creation. So Brahman should be kept above all the type of theories, and that's why even the satta of shunyata, even the pratitya samutpad, a possibility of pratiti samutpad within the pratiti of a jivatma should also be kept open, but not as the major proposition, but rather as a bracket within the major theories of creation and the existence. So, with this, I conclude my talk by saying that the Satkaranatavad and Satkaryatavad have been accepted by Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, in which he is trying to argue that the Karana should be Sat and the Karya should be Sat, but on the other end, the Shunyata can also be accepted as a type of Satta within the major bracket of Sat attribute of Brahman, which is in another circle of Anand attribute, which opens the gate of infinite type of Satta and Chaitanya within the Brahmic existence. Thank you. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, Maitri ji, for a very wonderful presentation of insights from Vallabha Sampradaya and how from a Vallabha Sampradaya Shuddha standpoint, how they perceive the Bauddha doctrines. Thank you for sending us this video lecture, and I'm sure all of our audience have become enriched with this. Nagaraji, do you have any comments to add?
Aditi ji in the question and answer box made an observation that she liked the talk, but it was too heavy. So she wants to interact with the speaker later. So I supplied the email ID of Maitri ji in the question and answer box. For all those others who also felt that it was heavy for them to follow in the video recording because the speaker is not available here to respond. Oh, Vidushi ji, Maitri ji has joined.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, Maitri ji, you are here. So I supplied your email ID to Aditi ji. And if there are any direct questions to you, you may respond, Maitri ji. Or otherwise, it was a wonderful talk also. And audience might have observed that whenever Buddha was to be mentioned, Maitri ji was using the word Bhagavan Buddha. That is the kind of respect that in the tradition there is for the Purva Paksha also. There is such a respect, and she was using the word Bhagavan Buddha whenever Buddha was being mentioned. So thank you very much, Maitri ji. And we supply your email ID to all those who want to interact with you with your permission. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Nagaraji. Viewers, as Nagaraji mentioned, for all the talks, it won't be possible for a direct interaction for the paucity of time today, but you can post your questions on Q&A box and the speaker may respond, or you can get in touch directly with them, or you can write to us and we will forward your questions and we will connect you with the respected speakers, and you can take your doubts with them directly after the session. So again, thank you very much, Maitri ji, for a very wonderful session.